Warning. This video contains some highly graphic, highly disturbing content and several borderline epileptic scenes. While this video will be edited and spliced in a way to remain PG-13, the anime we will inherently recommend will not be censored, obviously. Viewer discretion is advised. If you are sensitive to this kind of material, we kindly recommend you pass your way to a less troublesome video. Otherwise, welcome to the top 10 highly disturbing anime shorts. Anime shorts are incredibly obscure. They're not like your Elfen Lied or Future Diary with their overly gory aspect. They actually send you shivers of dread down to your core. And just like a train wreck, those aren't the kind of anime you can erase from your mind once you've seen them. If my warning aren't enough to scare you away, let's get on with this list. Number 10. Agitated Screams of Maggots. Yeah, with an entry like that, it's kind of fearsome thinking what's gonna be at the end of this list, but tag along. Agitated Screams of Maggots is a music video, often labeled as AMV, but as opposed to your 2006 Good Charlotte Naruto-based splicing, it's made with original content by artist Keita Kurosaka, following a song made by the Japanese rock metal band Dir and Grey. If you were to translate the lyrics, you'd get something about revenge, violence, and sexuality, the whole thing portrayed with maggot in the nastiest way possible. The video speaks volume and complements the song incredibly well, but there's very little storytelling happening here. It's shocking for the sake of being, well, shocking. Number 9. Konishi Extra. Another AMV original. There's quite a few on this list. This one goes back all the way to 1995. You might have seen a glimpse of it on MTV back in the 90s. It was during the very early days of techno, as it was trying to come out from the underground to a more mainstream area. This is way before dubstep was even a thing. Anyway, Koji Morimoto from Studio 4 Degrees Celsius, which you may know from 18F, The Animatrix, or Tekken Concrete, teamed up with Konishi to create Extra, a very short story that takes a dark spin on the advancement of science, computers, and robotic. Less disturbing than Agitated Screams of Maggots, but a more cohesive message sent out. Number 8. Pussycat. On paper, this cover looks like an innocent kid show. It's a clay animation short story like a Pingu in the City episode gone bad or a subplot to Wallace and Gromit, but it's actually a very dark and disturbing anime short about a cat escort. This isn't a music video like the previous two, but it also doesn't have any dialogue. The story is about a cat girl who tries to make a living. She goes to a client, a pig, probably a metaphor, and he drugs and abducts her in his secret room. A wolf barges in, like in the Three Little Pigs tale, and straight up murders the pig. Tries to also murder the cat girl, but she escapes, kicking the wolf in the nuts, therefore teaching a very important lesson to girls all around the world. Don't drop the balls. I don't know, it's a really weird one, this one. Number 7. Arey. Arey is another musical piece, but with an interesting story. You have a test subject who's hospital-bound and a nurse that administers daily medication for an experiment to transform the subject into a chimera. Eventually, the experiment is successful and it unleashes a beast in the hospital ward. But the monster actually kept his human desire and fell in love with the nurse that took care of her. The whole anime is made of very rough sketches, also known as key animation. The whole palette is yellow. Visually, it's quite striking, but not for the traditional reasons. It does manage to be captivating, but it's one that you might need multiple viewing to grasp all of its finesse. Number 6. Anikuri's Satoshi Kon's Good Morning. This one is disturbing, but not in the same way that the previous one did. The story gives you a self-aware sense of dread, a feeling that I don't really know how to explain otherwise, but it's one I get every time I watch a new episode of Black Mirror. Anikuri is a compilation of various famous animators teaming up to create each an anime of 1 minute long. They're all very good, but the one that marked me the most was Good Morning by Satoshi Kon. It's about how a girl wakes up physically first, but her mental state is still asleep and it tries to catch up to her body. It's incredibly poetic, especially considering it's also Satoshi Kon's final piece before he passed away. Makoto Shinkai also took part of this with a short about cats wanting to take over the world, and so many more with various level of troubling. Number 5. Keiko Shintaro Shorts. If these were too tame for you so far, now we are really entering nightmare-fueled territory. Keiko Shintaro is a manga artist that is renowned in Japan for his satirical stand on sexuality, scatology, and body modification. Lots of lowbrow humor, aka fart jokes. While it seems silly on the surface, there's also generally a message underneath it all. In this compilation of short stories, you have several jokey, crude absurdity that dwells in surrealism. It's disturbing in a way where it is unexpected and leave you with a feeling of, what the hell did I just watch? The art style is very rough and every episode is kind of its own standalone plot, but they do leave you with quite a lot of dread. Number 4. Uzumaki. My reason for wanting to make this video. This anime isn't even out at the moment, but it's in production and we got a trailer, so that's good enough for me. Uzumaki is incredibly famous in the manga world as being possibly one of the most disturbing pieces ever created by Junji Ito. A story about a character who's fascinated by spirals to the point where the obsession starts creating a chain of horrific events. The anime isn't out at the moment unless you watch this video in the far future, but it should be released in early 2020. If you can't wait until then, you can enjoy the trailer or pick up the manga in the meantime, but you need to be mentally prepared for what you're about to embark on. Number 3. Dai Fantasy. I remember watching Dai Fantasy in October 2011 on YouTube, and maybe you did too if you were keeping an eye on what was trending back then. At first, I remember thinking it was an anime because the art style, albeit cartoony, reminded me a lot of it. So I started the video and what I got was, well, quite an experience to say the least. It's another animated music video about a group of teenagers who sneak into a private pool for some nighttime fun. When the scene starts heating up, the character begins transforming into demonic monsters, and the main girl tries to escape only to find a portal to another dimension. There's a lot left to interpretation, and the shocking visuals just keep piling on top of itself. Try it out if you never had a chance to experience it for yourself before, but again, do be mentally prepared. Number 2. Me. I mean, you knew this was gonna make the list. This was quite the buzz when it came out in 2014, and people remember it vividly for its out-of-the-box visual, the high-paced beat, and the crazy metaphors it told. A story about an anime-obsessed guy who starts to blur the line between reality and fiction, until one day his girlfriend has enough and decides to leave him to his crippling addiction. Of course, a surface glance doesn't really give you all of those details, but once you dive much deeper into it, you realize it's a quite tragic scenario that many fall victims to. And finally, number 1, Dalco Girl. Not much later, they did a sequel to Mimimi called Girl. It was everything Mimimi was, except put on blast. More context to the whole story, more wacky visuals, more emotions, more everything. Do I think it's the most disturbing title on this list? Yes and no. In terms of story and experience, absolutely. But if you're taking the disturbing aspect at face value and you mean the most shocking, then no, not really. It's colorful and symbolic, but nothing that will actually prevent you from sleeping at night. But you know me, it's just my 2 cents. Take what you want and get the fuck out. If you'd like a more complete experience, I highly recommend you to check out the description down below. I will try my best to find links to these entire video here on YouTube so I can spare you to search yourself. In exchange, I'd be really grateful if you could give me a thumbs up to this video and subscribe to my channel for more obscure anime knowledge, because you know you want to. I don't really know why you would, but hey, I'm offering. Tell me about your most shocking anime experience down in the comment section below. I'm expecting a lot of Boku no Pico jokes, but mine was actually a cute anime called Angel Drops. If you feel like dive fantasy doesn't count as an anime, maybe try that one out. It'll fuck with your brain for several years. Probably. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Hard times, I've been on the wrong side, I've been ashamed. So many memories, you know I'd like to change.